Welcome back, students. In this video, we will be learning about how to combine quadratic inequalities. When we have more than one quadratic inequalities at hand, we will solve them individually and then we will use the number line to combine these final answers to one ultimate final answer. Now, combining quadratic inequalities is not much different from how we have learned about combining linear inequalities in the previous video. It is exactly in the same way. So what we will do, we will first consider this inequality that we have at hand, and using this inequality, we will be solving. So if we have this, we know how to solve these inequalities. We have also learned solving these inequalities individually in the previous videos. So from here, we will first have to consider this to be an equation. We know an equation has an equal to sign in between. And then we will solve for the critical values. The values that we get from here are -1 and 5. These are our critical values. And after we have found out the critical values, our next step is to use the table or the graph. And using those two, we have to find the range. So the range that we get here is -5 is less than equals to is less than x, which is less than -1 is less than x, which is less than 5. And for this one, we will again consider it to be an equation. So let 2x minus 1 x plus 3 is equals to 0. And from here, we get the two values of x, which are half and -3. And these are our critical values again. And then we draw the table or the graph, whatever is suitable. And then we find out the range. The range for this one comes as x is less than -3 or x is greater than half. If you are confused on how we have solved these inequalities individually, I suggest you see the previous videos of this playlist. Then I hope that there will be no confusion in how we have got the two ranges. So after we have got the range, now in order to find out the set of values of x, what we have to do is we have to draw the number line. We will draw the number line and represent these two inequalities in the number line and get the final answer. So in order to draw the number line, we will first draw the line and the variable is x. Then we know that we have to put down 0. Then we have -1 and 5 here. So we place this, and the critical values from this inequality are -3 and half. So half is somewhat closer to 0 and -3 would be a bit far away like this. So for the first inequality, we have -1 to 5. So -1 is one critical point, 5 is one critical point. And now we see that this is one inequality. This is one range that we have. So what we will do is we will connect these two empty circles to find that range. It represents all the values that are greater than -1 and less than 5. Now, as for this one, we have x is less than -3. So this is -3. The inequality that we have is x is less than -3. So at -3, we will draw an empty circle. It is the critical point. And then x is less. So x should be on the left side of -3. Again, For this one, we have x is more than half. So half is the critical point where we draw an empty circle, and then x is more than this half. So x is on the right side. So we draw the arrow on the right side. Now, if we want to take a look at the common region, our common region is the overlapping region or the region in between two lines. So this is our overlapping region, and we can say that our value of x lies in between these two lines. So the 2 points that we should consider are half and 5. This half and 5, these 2 points are the points in between which our value of x lies. So x is in between half and 5. That means x should be more than half because x is on the right side of half. So x is more than half. And if we take 5, then x is on the left side of 5. So x is less than 5. So we give this sign. Let's try solving another one. In this example, we have two more quadratic inequalities given to us. The first one is x square minus 25 is less than equals to 0. So we know how to solve this. We will write x square minus 25 is equals to 0. We will consider this to be an equation. And then from here, we will write down our critical values. The critical values that we get are minus 5 and 5. So these are our critical values, and we must mention that these are the critical ones. So if we draw the table or the graph from there, our range will come as minus 5 is less than x, which is less than 5. But we see we have an equal to sign in here. So we have to consider all of the possibilities, and this will be our final range. Now for this one, we again will consider this to be an equation. So we will write let x minus 4 is less than 12. So we can write this as x squared minus 4x, and then minus 12 will be equals to 0 because we are considering it to be an equation. So we will then equal to sign in here, and then we will solve for the critical values. Our critical values come as minus 2 and 6. So if we draw the table or the graph, then our final range comes as x is less than minus 2 or x is more than 6. Now we have to represent this in the number line. So if we represent these two sets of inequalities, this one and this one, these two sets in the number line, we first have to draw the number line. So if we draw the number line, we get a straight line like this, which represents the line for x. The variable here is x. And now 0 stands in the middle. We have the critical values minus 5 and 5. So minus 5 should be here. And 5 at somewhat equal distance. Then we have minus 2 and 6 as the critical value. So minus 2 should be somewhere here, and 6 closer to 5, but more on the right. So for the first one, we have minus 5 is less than equals to x, which is less than equals to 5. So minus 5 and 5 are our critical values. So minus 5 and 5 are our critical values, but we have equal to signs in both of these cases. So we have to fill these circles. We cannot keep the circles empty. And now this represents one set of values, one range for x. That's why we will join these 2 points. Now, for the second one, we have x is less than minus 2. So we have minus 2 in here. So at the critical value, we will draw a circle. There is no equal to sign. So we will have an empty circle. And then less than minus 2 means the values are on the left side of minus 2. So we draw an arrow like this. And here we have x is more than 6. So at 6, we draw an empty circle. And more means on the right side. So we draw a line like this. So now if we want to consider the common region that we get is the region overlapping the two lines, which is this region. If we take a look in here, there is no overlapping region, or here we don't find any overlapping region. So our final value is that x lies in between these 2 points, -5 and -2. So our final answer should have x in between -5 and -2. Now x is on the right side of -5. So if x is on the right side of -5, it is more than -5. So it is more than -5, but we also have a completely filled circle in here. So we will give an equal to sign as well. And if we take a look at the position of x relative to -2, relative to -2, the position of x is on the left. So x is smaller than -2. And we can see that the circle here is an empty one. So empty circle represents no equal to sign. And this is our final answer. Taking a look at another example will help us clear how to solve the questions related to this inequality. So here we have two inequalities given to us, and both of these are quadratic inequalities. We understand this by the squaring here. So if we want to solve it, we know that we have to solve both of these individually. So solving the first one gives us, let x square minus 7x minus 18 is equals to 0. That's the first step of the calculation. So now we will apply the quadratic formula to find out the critical values of x, which come as -2 and 9. So we know these are our critical values, and we must mention that these are those values. Then in the next step, we have to draw a table or the graph, whichever method is suitable for you guys. And then you can find out the set of values of x, which comes as -2 is less than x, which is less than 9. We also have an equal to sign, so we have to consider these critical points as well. Now, if we take a look in here, in the same process, we can find out the range for this one, which should come as x is less than equals to -4, or x is greater than equals to -3. If you solve this inequality, then you are supposed to get this answer. Now, our next step is to draw the number line in order to incorporate these two inequalities and get one final answer. So we will draw a straight line for the variable x, and then 0 must be in there. The points that we have are -2 and 9. So -2 is comparatively closer to 0. I am drawing it in here. And we have 9. So 9 is far away. Then we have -4 and -3, these 2 points. So this is -3 and this is -4. Now, if we represent all of these in ranges or sets of values of x in the number line, for the first one, we have -2 is less than equals to x, which is less than equals to 9. So we know at the critical points, -2 and 9, we are getting field circles. So at the critical points, -2 and 9, we will be getting field circles. So after drawing the field circles, this is one inequality, one range, one set of values. So we will draw one line to join these 2 points. In the next one, we have x is less than equals to -4. So at -4, I will have a field circle. And then because x is less than -4, the values will be on the left side of -4. So we draw it like this. And for this one, we have x is greater than equals to -3. So at -3, we will have a field circle, and then x is greater. So x is more than -3. So x is on the right side of -3. So now if we want to see our common region, we see that our common region lies in between these two lines. So our common region is in between these 2 points, -2 and 9. The value of x is in between -2 and 9. So x is on the right side of -2. So x is more than -2. And because we have a field circle at -2, we will give an equal to sign. And x is on the left side of 9. So x is on the left side of +9. So x is smaller than +9. And because of the field circle, we will give an equal to sign in here as well. So this final answer, the answer that we get from combining these two inequalities, coincide with the answer that we have in here. They come as the same one. So I hope that there is no other confusion on how we can combine the quadratic inequalities. With this, we are done with the topic of combining inequalities. However, there are more to come, as in the further videos we will see on how to combine a linear and a non-linear inequality. So please watch the next one for that.